Okay, they're off. So, as I said, routing is not going to be... There's really going to be no different than routing at this point. Both are going to start with Flashman, which is the most basic of the 8 Robot Master stages. There's really nothing to it. It's just pure execution and speed. There are no glitches really to take advantage of. And they're going to get item 3 from this, which will be extremely useful to them in Heatman stage, which they will both be playing second. So, like I said, there's not the only... They're going to be trying to minimize their damage as they go along, so they have enough health for Flashman. And of course, they're going to try and get rid of Flashman before he can use his Flash Stopper on them. And the way they're going to do that is they're going to be shooting at Flashman basically at point-blank range, while trying to minimize damage to themselves, because there are really no iframes with Flashman. Ooh, Fatso mistimed his jump and took added damage, so he's going to pretty much have to have a perfect Flashman fight to get out of this one. Cypher, about 60% health or so. He should be fine. He can take a few hits. I don't think Fatso can. So again, good execution by Cypher. Gets the flashless. Okay, you guys able to... Oh boy. Oh, he just gets above the kill shot. That's very lucky for Fatso. So very, very fortunate for him, but that keeps the race tight. It could have been a 20-second gap right off the bat. So Cypher at a clean Flashman fight got him before he got Flash Stopper attack going. So, alright, we've already got some drama and we're only 2 minutes in, so who wants some more? Alright, so of course, Heatman will be second, and going to be utilizing item 3 in a couple of places to speed this level along. A time stopper, thank you. Thank you, Chelney. Well, let's get that mixed up. So... use item 3 here for a fadeaway shot. Got it, no problem. Very good. Nice fadeaway by ColonelFatso as well, so good start. Use item 3 here to skip through this section. Save a not insignificant amount of time. Perfect from Cypher. ColonelFatso right along with him. So they're going to, when possible, they're going to be standing near the edge, try and move the blocks along. Very good by Cypher. Fatso's about not far behind. Cypher using Time Stopper there to just slip past the robots. ColonelFatso deciding to just, grind through it. So, a very tight difference, not about a few seconds difference between the runners. So now Heatman, they're going to be doing some bullfighting jumps, trying to get away from Heatman as he charges at him. And when he charges is RNG, but it's going to be 30, 60, or 90 frames after every shot. And there was a 90 from Cypher. He's getting a lot of quick ones here. So he takes a damage boost and takes care of him. ColonelFatso right behind him, so about a 2-3 second difference between the runners early on, so very tight. Now, for those of you not familiar, why are they playing the Japanese version? Well, this is largely the reason why. The text scrolls in Japanese are much faster than the North American version. So this saves about 42 seconds between versions. Of course, the Japanese version only has one difficulty, and North American has normal and difficult. This is the default difficult mode. Chat's pointing out, yeah, a lot of 30 frames for ColonelFatso there. Yeah, it's pure RNG, but you know, it worked out pretty well for him. Keeps it very tight. So here they're going to use item 1 to get through this opening section with the clouds. Now this is why they go to Heatman second rather than Airman second, because they want to get through this faster. And it's extremely risky, but if it works out, as it did for both of the two runners here, you save more time overall. Cypher got a little bit of extra damage from the egg drop. So use item 1 to clear out the last section here. The cloud drills. So he's probably also going to go for a little despawn here using the birds. And there it goes. Saves a little bit of time. So now Airman is going to be another RNG boss. His tornadoes are going to have random patterns, and Cypher and ColonelFatso are just going to have to adjust as they go along. So that's a good first pattern from Airman, but not a good second one. Good third pattern, and Cypher takes care of him at 635. And ColonelFatso is done at 639, so 2 very good starts for our runners right off the bat. So now they're going to get item 2 from Airman, completing the set and preventing Dr. Wily from pontificating at length about stuff we don't really care about. So 4 seconds between the 2 runners right off the bat. That's very good. But now there probably won't be. Here as we come to Clash Man, we're going to see another major skip, and it's going to involve both of them losing a life. But it's going to allow them to skip about half the level right off early on. So Cypher setting up a more challenging item 1 skip than ColonelFatso is going to go for the safer strat, but ultimately it takes them to the same place. ColonelFatso having a little trouble there. Can't quite get these enemies out of the way, so he's going to have to reset the room. Cypher perfectly executed the item 1 skip. So there we go for ColonelFatso, very good. And the reason, for those of you not familiar, why they switched to Heatman is if you charge up Heatman as you're dying, you basically skip the death enemy. So Cypher using item 3 to speed through this climbing section a little bit faster. Very, very nice execution. Fatso probably about 25 seconds behind right now. That trouble he had with the item 1 skip at the start. So Clash Man's a pretty simple boss. We go for a double hit with the Airman double, and there. So what he did is he shot to the left and to draw Clash Man over, and then he went for a shot at his tornadoes and got a double hit on him. ColonelFatso ready to take on Clash Man while Cypher gets ready to start Quick Man, 5th Robot Master. Not quite the same strategy, but just as effective from ColonelFatso. Double hit and then a 3rd shot to finish him off. ColonelFatso sort of being a little self-deprecating there about the difficulties he had with start of Clash Man stage, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Gotta deal with the lumps as you go along and adjust as you go as best you can. So Cypher does a good item 1 skip and resets the lights to make navigation a little easier here. So, cyghfer taking an extra life for insurance. Not a bad idea. Good item 1 skip from ColonelFatso. Cyghfer getting ready to do the last item 1 skip. Looks like he got it. Didn't accidentally soft lock or anything, so good. So Quickman's not terribly difficult. Just gonna want to be accurate with your shots. You don't want to miss. Do miss. You want to draw him over to the clash bomb. Maybe get a double while you're at it. But cyghfer doesn't need that. He was 7 for 7 on his shots. So he's done. ColonelFatso setting up his item 1 skip. Looks like he... Yep, very good. So, now this is a slight change of pace. Cypher's going to Woodman 6th. Most of the runners I've seen do Metalman 6th. Not that there's anything wrong with doing Woodman 6th. It's just a slightly different route than what you traditionally see. But hey, if it works, because the effect is really going to be negligible at the end. So cyghfer going for the item 1 skip here. Get past the dogs. Good. Good. Slides right past them. So yeah, ColonelFatso, get that? Okay. Like, really close, but cyghfer got the good wood skip. Fatso setting up item 1 skip, get through a really long and laborious room. So cyghfer setting up final phase of the good wood skip. Looks like, yep, he's got it. Very good. So he goes straight to the boss instead of having to deal with a bunch of rabbits and monkeys and other enemies. Meanwhile, ColonelFatso down to the last corridor for Metal Man. Cypher using Airman's ability to get inside the shield and take care of him. Very good. No, Metal Man is traditionally the robot master. You go 6th then. Cypher prefers Woodman 6th. At the end, there really is no difference because it really doesn't matter. Cypher just feels more comfortable going Metal Man 7th, and ColonelFatso prefers going Woodman 7th. So that's really the only so there's a slight bit of variation in the routing, but they're gonna break even on the routing when they get to Bubble Man, who is almost always last. Some actually I have heard do Woodman, Bubble Man 7th and Woodman 8th, but again, it really isn't an enormous difference. So ColonelFatso using Time Stopper here to get past the dogs. Very good. Tricky. You gotta make sure you're to the room Fatso's in before Time Stopper ends. So cypher clean Metal Man fight. The thing with Metal Man is you just want to stay on the left side of the stage and just bam quick boomerangs until he's dead. So ColonelFatso setting up his good wood skip. Looks like yep, he's got it. Very good. So I'll have an idea of what their splits are after Bubble Man, but yeah, it looks like cypher overall is about 20 seconds ahead, I'm guessing. Well on his way to a very good opening 8 Robot Master time. I didn't know what ROFL means. Wow. Interesting. So, item 1, skip from cyghfer. Ooh, he missed. Try again. Yeah, no problem. So, metal blades to get past the robotic fish and the frogs, especially those frogs. Those frogs take a lot of damage from metal blades. The metal blades are pretty much good for everything. For some reason, the frogs, they're not exactly resistant, but they can take a lot of abuse. So, Bubble Man awaits. ColonelFatso setting up his item 1 skip. Very nicely done. He's on pace. He's gonna get a free life out of this, too. Bubble Man fires 3 bubbles, which is not the best pattern you can get, but cyghfer doesn't have any problems. And he clears 6 of the 8 Robot Masters at 15:58. So that's outstanding. That's the best time I've seen in the, I think, 10 matches I've called so far in this tournament. Prissy did about a 16:03, but, you know, cyghfer now at 15:58. That's very, very good. ColonelFatso, probably going to be about a 16:35, 16:40. He also gets 3 bubbles. And he's done at 16:36, so a 38-second difference between our 2 runners. cyghfer. It's clear the 8 Robot Masters, and now he's going on to Wily 1, and it's legendary music. So he's going to use item 2 here to speed through this opening section. He's gonna do a couple of attempt a couple of vertical skips here, get through some of this climbing. First one goes very nicely. Missed the top of the ladder though, so he has to do a little bit of unfortunate climbing. But, nothing he can't handle. Fatso setting up the same item 2 progression, very nice. Cyghfer gonna try for a second vertical skip and gets it. Very good. So that saves a few seconds of climbing for him. Got quick boomerang ready for the dragon. See how nice the dragon is today. ColonelFatso having a little trouble with the item 1 skip, so he's just gonna go along normally. So, thing with the dragon is you just want to be able to get rid of him before he can shoot any fireballs at you, because they do significant blowback if they hit you. But no problem for cyghfer. ColonelFatso decides not to go for the second skip. I don't think he had it in the right position. So again, still looking at about a 35-40 second lead, probably a little bit more since he got both of the skips. Cyghfer gonna restock on some item 1. Do a damage boost here and set up an item 1 skip. Okay, he's got it. It's over. The last of his item 2 and clear the barriers. Perfect dragon fight from ColonelFatso. Use the wood shield here to get through these drills and try to avoid any item pickups if possible, because that just wastes time. Unfortunately, got a giant health pellet, so no chance there. See how ColonelFatso fares with his item 1 skip. He's got the right setup. Yep. Very good. Cyghfer about to take on the Wily 2 boss, what I've come to affectionately know them as the Flying Toasters. Somebody has a better name, I'm all ears. this is a different strat that I'm used to seeing. Cypher's using Bubble Man. It's ability to get rid of the most used metal blades. Cypher is saving. That's interesting, but given their general position on when they merge, works out pretty well. So 2024 for Cypher. And that's the second real break from routine that I've seen from Cypher. The first being, of course, using Woodman, going Woodman 6th instead of Metal Man. Now this, so, but he's the world record holder, so he can do whatever he damn well pleases, I guess. You got to be careful about showing off. I've seen it burn some people very badly. So, forgot to do the fish count. So just one fish for Cypher. 2112 for ColonelFatso through Wily 2. So get your predictions in on how many fish ColonelFatso will see. So, yeah, 48-second difference between the two runners after Wily 2. Forward jump from Cypher didn't quite get the right execution. No fishes for ColonelFatso. That's interesting. So only one fish. But he takes care of Wily, and Cypher takes care of the boss in Wily 3. So he's on to the most beloved of all Rockman 2 levels, Purple Hell. Fatso getting a health refill he probably didn't want or need because this boss is pretty simple. Cypher gonna use another vertical skip here. Very nice. Good Wily 3 fight from Wily 3 boss fight from ColonelFatso. Still well within range, but he's really kind of at this point hoping for a colossal mistake from Cypher to really take the lead. But it's Purple Hell, and races have been won and lost here, so especially in these spike rooms, and especially in the Wily 4 boss. So, but I'm jinxing him or anything, just saying it's been known to happen. So he's setting up the item 1 skip, so he's going to need to land in a certain area to really make this go quickly. Looks like so far so good where he lands. Ooh, that's unexpected. He went straight across to the far side. That's unexpected. But nice recovery using, oh dear. Another mistake from Cypher. He's setting up using item 1 here. He set up the crash bomb in such a way to try and get a double here. Okay, it's fine. 1 frame from overzipping. Thank you, Zoda. Appreciate it. So, oof. Be a little careful here. He couldn't. So he didn't get. So he leaves. Ideally, you want to leave with two clash bombs, not instead of 1 for the Wily machine fight. So ColonelFatso's start is very good. It's gonna be a little careful here so far. So, okay. So ColonelFatso does it the ideal way, and he shaves about 20 seconds off of his deficit. He's down 24:46 versus, I think, 24:21. And Once again, cyghfer kind of going his own way. Leads off with Airman. Normally, you see runners start with Quickman because you use the Buster on him. cyghfer, well, do it his own way. So Heatman taken care of, good. Woodman is third for him. Good fight from cyghfer. Giving Woodman a parting shot with the tornadoes. Double on Clashman. Now he's going to do Quickman. Be a little careful here. He's about half health, but almost got through that damage list. Actually, that's very impressive. So now he's going through the metal portion of the fight. Got to be a little careful here because he's running low on health. But he takes the health refill. Okay, Metal Man, 1-2 punch. He's done. So now he's on to Flashman to close it out. Yeah, chat's pointing out that ColonelFatso is doing really well in the refights. He absolutely is. Doing extremely well. He's still behind, though, and cyghfer's on to fight the Wily Machine. He'll be using a Flash Bomb here to cure the first phase, and he'll be using Metal Blades for the second phase. Like I said, ideally you'd like to have 2 Flash Bombs, but no such luck. But he's done at 26:39, so he's on pace for about a 27:40 or 50, I'd say. So ColonelFatso about to finish up his refights. Nicely done. So he's got the 2 Clash Bombs, so he can just burn through this fight really quickly. Still got to aim them correctly. Don't want to shoot too high. Nicely done. 27:09. So, ooh, it almost looked like he missed. That would have been disastrous. cyghfer takes on the alien. You see a lot of tight mashing here. cyghfer takes a damage boost, starts spamming the bubbles, circle, and he is out. He is, so GG to cyghfer, who is done and finishes with an official SRL time of 27 minutes, 44 seconds. ColonelFatso. So ColonelFatso is done. So Fatso takes a unfortunate loss. He played extremely well, but he finishes with an official SRL time of 28 minutes and 12 seconds. So only 28 seconds between our 2 runners. That's very good. cyghfer had a little trouble in Wily 4. And I'm interested to hear about his strategies regarding Wily 2 boss, because I've never seen that before. But it all worked out for him, so he takes game 1, best of 3, second round match. Zoda brings up a good point. Clashman was a significant digression early on for them. cyghfer got the item 1 skip right away. ColonelFatso had a little bit of trouble setting up the safer skip because of enemy placement, and was not able to get what he needed. So, but again, and as expected, ColonelFatso said it is going to do a little practice in between games. So in terms of game 2, like I said, both players did extremely extremely well. I mean, Colonel Fatso was only 23 seconds off his PB, and perhaps if not for the Clashman hiccup, he probably would have come very close to his PB and perhaps the race as a whole, because cyghfer's time is 5 seconds off of Colonel Fatso's PB, 27:49. So, who knows? So, see if Colonel Fatso can repeat his performance overall and maybe groove some of the faults that hampered him slightly in Game 1. Cypher, of course, needs a slightly less hectic and drama-filled Purple Hell. He had a really hard time with the boss and was able to recover nicely and use some good backup strats with items 1 and 3 to save him from basically losing the match outright. So our runners are ready and raring to go for Game 2. Expected. We're just going to get right into it. Fatso has, I think, sort of cleaned up what he wanted to. So, anything can happen. We could. Fatso, in the 3 matches I've seen in the last week, he's had times of 28-20, 28-03, and 28-12. So that's an average of actually 28-11, 28-12, depending on how you want to round up or not. So very consistent. Cypher stepping away from the computer for just a second. He'll be back. So, but as I was saying, yeah, Colonel Fatso, very consistent across the board in the 3 races I've seen this week. So, kind of know Colonel Fatso asking set free. Well, that's not up to, well, that's partly up to you, Colonel Fatso, but that's also partly up to your opponent. Perhaps he wants to prolong your agony. But, okay, we're back. Cypher's set to go. Starting in the next minute or so. Good luck to both of our runners, and let's hope Game 2 is as interesting and as competitive as Game 1 was. Because, you know, optimal death, isn't that RM304? Isn't that kind of a contradiction in terms? Optimal death. Although I suppose there are some examples of it, but I don't think you'd go for an optimal death to force a Game 3 in this case. So they're off, and you're not going to see any real variance strategy, or this is going to be basically a rerun of Game 1. So in terms of their overall strategy, there will be some differences between the 2 players, but they're not going to change what they did in Game 1. That's crazy. So now it's interesting to see. Colonel Fatso had a very tension-filled Flashman stage. He was basically playing with his back to the wall and avoided getting killed by the Time Stopper, but just by about as narrow a margin as you could hope for. And was able to complete the boss and stay close to Cypher, who had a clean opening stage. So see if Colonel Fatso can get the jumps right, because he had a little trouble with that in Game 1. Okay, nicely done. So cyghfer is maybe half a second ahead, and it's almost it's a virtual tie at this point. So Flashman leading off. Cyghfer, good start with the fight. Flashless. So does ColonelFatso. So very clean opening fight from both of our runners. Done. It's kind of interesting to see the text scrolls so close to each other like this. It's not the only interesting thing about the Wily thing. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Should be back. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. They took out the restream for whatever reason, so sorry about that. So looks like I haven't missed not a whole lot has really changed. Both runners still very close to each other in Airman stage. Cyghfer doesn't have ideal health at this stage, but you have to be a little careful with Airman, but he should be okay. So the bird despawn gets it, nicely done. So Cypher gets to Airman first, ColonelFatso right behind him, gets a good pattern right off the bat. Not a good pattern with the second round of tornadoes, and a even worse third round of tornadoes. We got to be really quick here, and ooh, very close. But finishes at 6:35. ColonelFatso done at 6:38. So very close for Cypher there, but he maintains a very slim lead. So actually, their splits are almost identical from game one. So that's interesting. So in game one, as we'll all recall, Clashman is where the two runners started to have the lead changed quite a bit. Cypher was able to execute the item one skip right away. ColonelFatso had a little bit of trouble. See how this goes. Cypher setting up the more challenging item one skip. Looks like he got it. Yep. ColonelFatso going with the safer strat. Sets it up nicely. Cypher missed. Uh-oh. That's not good. Okay. Alright, I stand corrected. He did not miss. Taking a slightly different approach to it, so they're dead even. Running parallel with one another as we head to the second half of Clashman stage. So this is kind of interesting. See how there's sync any chat sync. Yeah, sync anybody? Very okay. That's what I thought. I think I've seen that once or twice before, but so the good heads up play by Cypher. He's holding on to a very slim lead of maybe a couple of seconds, so much tighter than game one, where he was finishing up the Clashman as ColonelFatso was about halfway through his ascent. Double tap, and then a third shot to finish him off. ColonelFatso going the reverse, a single hit and then a double to finish off Clash. So Quickman will be again 5th for both runners. Both of them had very clean Quickman levels in game one. See how game two goes. Sorry for setting up the item one skip. Miss. So did ColonelFatso. Second try works out well for Cypher. Fatso having mistiming his setup, but gets a kind of a backup strat there to work out for him. So a nice adjustment by ColonelFatso as Cypher is using Time Stopper to get to the first half of this. Grabs an extra life for himself as insurance. So if this item one skip goes better for Cypher than the first one did, looking good. Got the Clash Bomb set up. Fatso's item one skip. Good. Very nicely done. So 7 for 7 for Cypher. No misses. See how ColonelFatso fares. Deal with a little bit of extra movement, but also a clean fight for ColonelFatso. So as it was in game 1, Cypher going for the somewhat atypical approach of doing a Woodman 6th, while ColonelFatso goes with the more popular variation of Metalman 6th. Again, nothing really wrong with that. The only part where it might be a little problematic for Cypher is if he misses, he doesn't have metal blades. Can help get rid of these dogs. Good item 1 skip from ColonelFatso to start it off, and Cypher does his item 1 skip very nicely. So now he's setting up the good wood skip. ColonelFatso missed a very minor skip. Saved him about a half a second if he had executed that correctly, but it's a half second. So Cypher's setting up. Final phase of the good wood skip. While ColonelFatso gets ready to take on Metal Man. Nicely done by Cypher. So we have a pretty quick fight from Metal Man. Just stay to the left and keep spamming those boomerangs. Perfect. Cypher gets inside. Takes care of him, so technically ColonelFatso is ahead, but we won't know for sure until they both play each other's respective stages. Metal Man, I believe, is a little shorter overall anyways. Especially when you execute the skips. Cypher sets up the item 1 skip, very good. ColonelFatso going to use Time Stopper here, as he did in game 1, to get past the dogs. Going to use a couple of minor skips so he can get through before the third dog spawns after Time Stopper ends. Got the first one, got the second one. Yep, no problem. Ooh, just barely ahead of it, but very nicely done. Otherwise he would have had to take down that dog. Cost a few seconds. So, ColonelFatso setting up good wood, while Cypher's getting ready to take on Metal Man. Fatso he's having a little trouble here, but looks like he's got it set up correct. Yep, very nice. Cypher takes down Metal Man at 14:19. Fatso's going to be about 20 seconds behind. Maybe more. Yeah, about 20 seconds behind going into Bubble Man. Had a little more trouble with the item 1 skip in Quickman than Cypher did, even though both of them missed. Fatso took a little longer to get done with it. So down to the last Robot Master. Cypher continuing to hold on to about a 20-second lead there or thereabouts. Head into the final Robot Master before the Wily stages. Cypher missed the first try on this in game 1, but no problem here. I don't know if he's gonna get. I don't think he's gonna get sub 16 like he did in game 1, but he's gonna be putting together a really solid time overall. ColonelFatso missed the first attempt and the second. Tried for a backup, didn't quite work out, so gets it to work for him this time. Cypher about to take on Bubble Man. Both of them got 3 bubbles in their game 1 matches. Ideally, you want to see 1. Gets a double there from Bubble Man, but no problem. He's out at 16:07, so just about 10 seconds slower than it was in game 1. ColonelFatso, game 1 split after taking down Bubbleman with 1636. He's either going to have that, he's going to be really close to repeating that. It's a double as well from Bubbleman. He's done at 1635. And to answer Cat's question about Cypher's game one time, SRL had it at 2744. ColonelFatso was 2812. So the 28-second difference between the two runners going into Wily 1. So it's really down to a mistake, and Cypher definitely had trouble in Wily 4. So ColonelFatso had a little trouble with the vertical skip Wily 1 and misplaced the second one, I believe. Cypher got both of them. So all down to execution here. Cypher setting up the first vertical, he misses. So he's going to have to take the long way up. Like I said, it's down to little things like that. If ColonelFatso can execute what Cypher can't, it's going to be a much tighter race, but it's a lot of execution. Cypher setting up the item 1 skip for the second vertical. Gets it. But ColonelFatso got the first vertical, so Fatso has a chance to close the gap here if he gets the second vertical. Does not. I don't think he got it. I don't think he had it right. I don't think he just doesn't want to attempt it at this point. He got the one skip, so they break even on skips, but ColonelFatso might have saved a little more time, but a perfect dragon fight from Cypher didn't even give him a chance to spew a fireball. No fireballs thus far from the dragon. They're not giving him any chances. So, Wily 2 underway for Cypher. Set up the item 1 skip here. Nicely done. Use last of his item 2 to clear that hurdle, and he's done that. So he's going to use Wood Shield here to get through the narrow corridor up ahead. Takes a health refill. Not something he necessarily wanted, but not gonna refuse it either. Takes another large refill there. So it's not really a mistake. It's just RNG, but it's not the kind of thing you want to see, even if it is supposed to be beneficial to your ammo. So, Cypher time stopper to get through the last section as he gets ready to take on the flying toasters, Wily 2 boss. This time he's going with metal blades, so it's a little bubble experiment. I think he'd had enough of that. Still have to ask him about that afterward. Execution so far so good for Cypher, no problems. There's no RNG to the patterns, it's the same every single time. It's all about accuracy. So 2039 for Cypher. About 15 seconds behind game 1 time. Fatso's more than halfway done with the toasters. Get your fish predictions in for Wily 3. How many are we going to see? 0 to 4. So good start for both runners. ColonelFatso finished them off at 21:02. So at 20, so he gained about he cut the gap by 5 seconds. One fish. There's a fish. So yeah, so 28 seconds after the 8 Robot Masters, it's down to 23, but still, long way to go. Pi is exactly 3, yes. So we have, I believe that's 2 fish. Sorry for avoiding another ammo refill. He's already had he had his fill of that in Wily 2. ColonelFatso didn't really have to deal with that. 3 fish, 3 jump fight, 2 fishies. That's what I thought. So a 3 jump fight from cyghfer. He needed 4 in game 1. Not a huge amount of difference, but 3 is what 2 is perfect. 3 is pretty optimal. Oh, 3 jumps for ColonelFatso. Going for a double, but didn't quite get it. So we're going on to Purple Hell, which gave cyghfer a fair amount of trouble at the end. He had a hard time with the boss, but some good backup strats were able to save him, and ultimately help preserve his victory over ColonelFatso. ColonelFatso much more on point with his Wily 4 fight than cyghfer was. So good start for both runners. Wily 4. Taking some damage boosts, get to run the spikes. Oh, whoa! There it is. That is a significant time loss for cyghfer. Oh boy. So Fatso is clinging to a very narrow lead here. To this last spike room. Yes, very good. So still need to get through this Wily 4 boss, and no gimmies here. Good start for Fatso. First double. Another one. So, third turret. This is where cyghfer had some major problems in game 1. You know, okay, you got execution is correct, but ColonelFatso has taken the lead. He finishes at 24-36. So 24-51 for cyghfer, so a 15-second lead for ColonelFatso. We head to the refights in Wily 5. We're interested to see if cyghfer again he went in a slightly different way with the refights than ColonelFatso did, and what most of the runners have done. See how this goes. Yes. Once again, he's starting off with Airman, which is interesting. ColonelFatso gets a delayed double there. cyghfer takes down, I believe that was Woodman. So, cyghfer. ColonelFatso, no, that was Airman, sorry. So, ColonelFatso had a little trouble, right off the bat with some of the refights, giving cyghfer a chance to catch up. I'm not really sure where they're at as far as timing is concerned. cyghfer's still got to fight Quickman, and had a really good Quickman fight in game 1. A little bit of trouble here. He gets a nice run of shots on him, though. Ooh, nice, nice finish there. That could have been disastrous for cyghfer. Both on Bubble Man. ColonelFatso finishes first. He's got 2 to go on the metal fights. 1, 2 for metal. So, yeah, they are within seconds of each other. ColonelFatso holding on to a very slim lead here. Talking seconds. ColonelFatso, perfect, Wily, oh boy, cyghfer's in a little trouble here. Oh, he missed! Oh no! And that's game over for cyghfer. Wow. That's... oh boy, cyghfer has forfeited game 2. We're going to have a game 3. ColonelFatso still has to finish. Wow. Fatso wrapping up with the alien. Very nicely done. So, ColonelFatso takes game 2. He finishes with an official SRL time of 28:05. So, outstanding run by ColonelFatso, holding the line and closing the deal. cyghfer, unfortunately, is not able, fell to a Wily machine, and because of that death in Wily 4, that turned out to be the death knell, really, because he had to be perfect the rest of the way, and unfortunately it just didn't go that way. So, we are going to have a do or die game 3. Get your game 3 hype ready, everybody. The agony will go on forever. ColonelFatso puts it. Well, one more game at the very least, and I should remind everybody, in this tournament, there is no loser's bracket. It's win or go home. You gotta win. So, as I said, this would be a huge upset if ColonelFatso can win game 3. So we're down to one more game. Game 3, do or die. cyghfer has had a miserable go of it in games 1 and 2 with Wily 4. He had a hard time with the Wily 4 boss in game 1. Game 2, he died in the final spike screen and ended up being about 15 seconds behind going into the refights. So that extra life he picked up in Quickman saved him, but unfortunately he was not able to capitalize and died to Wily Machine. And he subsequently forfeited. So both runners are ready to go. not quite. ColonelFatso needs a second. Yes. Okay, our runners are... I don't think the microphone cut out. I hope not. Already had that happen in game 1. Game 2, I mean. So, runners are ready to go. Game 3, do or die. ColonelFatso's been extremely Game 3. Well, ColonelFatso's been very consistent. Only a 7-second difference between his times in games 1 and 2. Cypher really needs purple hell to stop being hell. That's really what it comes down to. He has had a terrible go of it in games 1 and 2. ColonelFatso having a little trouble at the start there. Flashman. A little bit unintended damage. Cypher doing his route, no problem. So it's still very even. We're right down to basic execution. ColonelFatso standing on the wrong ledge for about a second too long. ColonelFatso's had as a recap, had a bit of drama in game 1 in this stage. He took a extra bit of damage from one of the jumping robots and had to play a perfect Flashman fight and barely avoided getting killed by his time stopper attack. Sort of set the tone for the match to come, but perfect Flashman fight from both players. Cypher out a few seconds ahead to start it off. ColonelFatso right on his tail. All right. And once again going second here. ColonelFatso had a little bit of trouble with the fadeaway in game 2, but should be able to get it correctly this time, I hope. Fadeaway from Cypher, is on point. Same for ColonelFatso. Getting close. Cypher sets up the item 3 skip. Nicely done. ColonelFatso also on point. Good start for both of our runners. Blocks. Large reason why some runners prefer to go Airman second rather than Heatman second. So I don't have to deal with this. Choose item 2 and sail straight across. And to answer chat's question, ColonelFatso won game 2, thanks in part to cyghfer taking a death in Wily 4 and then dying again at the Wily machine and taking a game over. He subsequently forfeited. What was what was it till that point a very close race, probably down to about 5 to 10 seconds. So, cyghfer having a little trouble here early on with Heat Man. That could do a little more damage than he would have liked. He's able to do it, but not what he would have preferred. Ooh. So, ColonelFatso and cyghfer both taking care of Heat Man about a couple of seconds apart. See if they can beat their splits through Airman, because cyghfer went through it Airman at 635 in games 1 and 2. Fatso 639 and 638. So the cyghfer had a little trouble with Clashman in game 2. In game 2, used a backup strat, but that actually pulled them even because ColonelFatso did his intended strat perfectly. Time stopper for the opening section of Airman stage. I'm going to switch over to item 1 across this chasm here. cyghfer took a little more damage than he would have liked in game 2 and was actually very close to being killed by Airman, but was able to finish him off in time. Execution on point across the chasm for both runners. cyghfer again clinging to about a 3-4 second lead at this point, maybe less. So they're both very even going into the start of this. Fatso taking a health refill. cyghfer didn't quite get the pattern he would have liked, so no despawn for the air robot. Both of them actually picking up health refills here. Not unwelcome. Airman can be a real troll, but neither of them is really going to need more than probably half health to get through this. Good tornado from Airman for cyghfer, and he's done at 636. ColonelFatso 4 seconds behind at 640. So again, very consistent. cyghfer probably had a better set of patterns from Airman than ColonelFatso, but both did their fights very cleanly. Yes, Chelney, that bird. Yes, exactly. Why can't they do what we want them to do? So it's close, but it's been close all 3 matches now through the opening section. There's never been more than 4 seconds. So cyghfer setting up the item 1 skip. Harder one, looks like he's got it. Had a little trouble in game 2, didn't quite get the pattern setup he wanted, but looks like he's got this one just fine. ColonelFatso setting up his. Perfect from cyghfer. Perfect from ColonelFatso. Not quite as fast but as cyghfer's, but safer overall. Begins the long climb to Clashman. The item 3 to speed through the climb. Very nicely done by cyghfer. So Cypher enters Clashman stage at 8:37. ColonelFatso about 9 seconds behind. Nice fight from Cypher. Double and then finishes him off. ColonelFatso seems to go for the one shot and then went for the one shot and then the double to finish it. This time more traditional. It's a double and then finishes him off with the third shot. So Quickman up as 5th. And from here, there will be after this one, there will be a slight divergence in routes. So Cypher's going to almost certainly go with Woodman 6th, and ColonelFatso will go Metalman 6th. Still very close, and Item 1 skips here gave both runners trouble in Game 2. Cypher gets it first try here. Time stopper to get through this opening section. Cypher went for that extra life here in Quickman stage, which actually could have saved him in Game 2 had he not taken the extra death at Wily 5. So he took one in Wily 4, and normally this would be game over, but because he took the extra life, and did not set up that correctly, so he's going to go again. Gets it this time, looks like. Chance for ColonelFatso to close the gap by a few seconds. Yep, he's done. He's through, so Cypher. Another perfect Quickman fight, 7 for 7. Clash bump. ColonelFatso had a slightly slower start because of Quickman jumping into up towards the ceiling, but takes care of business. So another good fight from both players. So yep, Woodman 6th for Cypher. Does tend to go against what the others have done, as I've said. They tend to go Metalman 6th like ColonelFatso, but it's worked out very well for Cypher. So the only real downside is if he misses some of his intended skips with Item 1, Metal Blades really come in handy. He doesn't have those. ColonelFatso gets the Item 1 skip on his second try, I mean. Excuse me. Cypher. Setting up his Item 1 skip. Sails straight through. Very nicely done. It's risky, but it's worked out very well for him 3 times now. So Cypher setting up the good wood skip. ColonelFatso using Item 2 to get down to the final section of Metalman stage. Nicely done by Cypher. ColonelFatso's underway with Metalman, keeping his distance, keep him in the same place, and finishes him off. Very nicely done. Perfect perfect wood fight from Cypher. Gets in the kill zone and takes care of him. So now they're gonna take care of the bosses that the other ones have already finished off. Well, it looks like ColonelFatso is ahead. Metalman is actually a shorter stage skipped, so we're not really gonna know who's in the lead until after they both have completed their bosses. Cypher underway with Metalman. Good Item 1 skip to start it off. ColonelFatso going to use Time Stopper here for this opening section. Using little skips here to get through before the dog appears at the end. Gets it. Very good. So otherwise you'd have to take care of the dog with Metal Blades. get through that second. Well, you don't have to use metal blades, but that's the fastest way to do it. So cyghfer, just a hop and a skip away from Metal Man. ColonelFatso setting up the good wood skip. Looks like it's all right. Cyghfer, almost to Metal Man. So yeah, well, trouble at the start there for cyghfer, but Metal Blade's stopping him before he can get any shots off. But nice recovery and a nice fight from cyghfer. Done at about 14-15, I'd say. ColonelFatso done at 14-24. So again, about a 9-10 second difference. We head to the final Robot Master. Why is it called Goodwood? I like the response, because giggity. Yes. Baron Hayes is a very good backup response, because it's funny and we're children. Yes. Children at heart. I can't speak for everybody, but most of us children at heart. Cyghfer, the item 1 skip. Very good. ColonelFatso not very far behind at all. Probably, like I said, less than 10 seconds. 10 to 15 seconds, if that. So, good item 1 skip. I don't know if cyghfer is going to get sub 16 again. It's going to be really close. So he had a 15:58 opening 8 Robot Masters in game 1. It doesn't look like he's going to get it, but it's going to be about a 16. Oh. Nope, got it exactly on the nose. 15:58. It's me to presume. $16.17. Duke Fiber, that's not alliteration. If it were alliteration, it'd be Wispy Wood or something. Or Wonky Wood. Something like that. So 15:58 for cyghfer. ColonelFatso at 16:17, a 19-second difference. So the gap is actually decreased every single time. Between ColonelFatso's getting stronger as he goes along. Cypher's been very consistent. So now it's all down to Wily stages. More specifically, Wily 4 is probably going to be the breaking point. Cypher has not had a good Wily 4 yet in this match. Good vertical skip to start off for cyghfer. He missed that in game 2. Got 2 for 2 on the vertical skip. Make that 3 for 3. So ColonelFatso got his vertical skip. He hasn't gone for the second one, games 1 or 2. I think at this point it's probably out of personal preference rather than execution, but we shall see. Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and just make the long, lonely climb. Here's the dragon. Dragon's been no problem so far in this match. And for cyghfer, it continues to be no problem. So very nicely done. Start off Wily 1. Little scroller turns on for ColonelFatso and he gets ready for his Wily 1 fight. No fireballs. No fireballs from the dragon. In any of the matches. Very interesting. Very good execution by both runners as well. So, Wily 2 makes the climb over. cyghfer is getting a few more health refills than he would have, health and ammo refills than he would have liked in game 2. It actually allowed ColonelFatso to gain a couple of seconds on him as a result. cyghfer just running through it, gets no, ooh! ColonelFatso missed and takes a game over as a result, though you're gonna take a game over. That's not a bad place to do it just because you get a full refill of your items. So, that's unfortunate, but I'd say it's decisive, but it really won't become decisive until we get to Wily 4, because cyghfer's had a tough go of it in both games 1 and 2. ColonelFatso using item 2 for the safer route, because he got a restock on ammunition. cyghfer having no problems with the toasters, using metal blades. He's done it 2020. So that's actually his fastest time yet in the 3 matches. Fatso missing item 3. He's gonna have to go again. Be a little careful here. Okay, he's through. So get your fish predictions in, folks. How many fish are we gonna see in game number 3? 0 to 4. One fish. One fish. So, and yes, to answer a question in chat, yes, the loser of this match will be eliminated from the tournament. There's no loser's bracket. So 21-24 for ColonelFatso, so slightly over a minute behind. So that death. So he's really going to need a major mistake from cyghfer in Wily 4 really to level this out. And even then, depends on when and how it happens. Not the cleanest Wily 3 fight from cyghfer, but he's done. Shelly. Believe in the unbelievable. Yeah, they rejected slogan from the X-Files, right? So 3 fish. So if you guessed 3 fish, congratulations. You have ESP. So Purple Hell starting up for cyghfer. So cyghfer's problems have been in the second half of this stage. He slipped on a platform in game 2 in the 4th spike room and took a death. Is that a double from ColonelFatso? Is that 2 jumps? So anyways, yeah, game 2 he fell in the 4th spike room, took a death. Game 1 he mistimed his zip and had to do some backup strats, and it cost him about 25 seconds. He was able to get through, but left a little bit of uncertainty there. So, okay, good start for cyghfer. This is what he's been waiting for this entire match. a good Wily 4 fight, and so far so good. He's got that bomb correctly placed, very good. Damage boost, and he's done at 2348. So very nicely done by cyghfer. So it's his match to lose at this point. ColonelFatso using a backup strat to get to spike for 1. So cyghfer again, kind of going a somewhat atypical route in terms of the robot masters. Generally, you see Quickman first because that's the one you have to use Buster with. Cyghfer takes care of Airman first. On to Bubble Man. Fatso setting up his item 1 skip for the Wily 4 boss. Looks about right. Might be a little too far to the... Yeah, he's a little too far to the right, but nice backup strat. Parting shot from cyghfer, taking care of Woodman. Good fight from ColonelFatso. He's done a 25:04, so about 76 seconds behind. Cyghfer taking on Quickman. We would like to have that health refill, but alright, fine. Cyghfer on to Bubble Man. Answer question in chat. Yes, you can get a world record in a tournament, of course. But some of the things you would do in a tournament, in a world record race run, you wouldn't necessarily do in a race. So you really have to be basically going for broke and have everything pay off. Nice Wily Machine fight from cyghfer. 26:05. He's looking about a 27 and change. Airman not being the nicest to ColonelFatso, but he gets through. He's about the halfway point of the refight. Cyghfer get this last skip to go his way. Does it? Got it. Right. Shuffles on over to the alien. Oh. So I've got to be a little careful. Doesn't want to get bodied because that's significant damage. He does. Oof. Gonna probably just wait for him to come around, and that does it. So, cyghfer finishes with an official SRL time of 27:08. Win the match. Fatso going for Wily, and Wily Machine takes care of him at 27:26. So, excellent run by cyghfer. Finally got everything to click for him in Game 3 after some drama in Game 1 and then the unfortunate game over in Game 2. We'll see if I wait for ColonelFatso to finish before we pull him in for interviews. Just out of respect. So start. So ColonelFatso closes it out with an official SRL time of 28:28. So GG's to him, and GG for taking this to the wire and forcing a game 3. His times were very consistent. He had very solid execution, and if not for the death in Wily 2, who knows? He probably wouldn't have won, but he would have broken 28 for sure. So let's see if our friends are in. Okay, we got so here. So, welcome, GG.
Well, thank you.
So, well, took it to the wire,
Yeah, I think that's probably other than the game over in Wily 2, that's probably the most consistently I've ever played this game in a race setting. So I'm really happy with how I played.
Well, yeah, it's like of the 5 times now that I've seen you in the last 6 days, that was actually your worst time of 28-28.
Mm-hmm.
So, very consistent straight across the board. No real outright mistakes. Just down to the little things at this point.
Yeah. Honestly, this went beyond my wildest dreams. So the only hope that I thought I had against cyghfer was maybe I could take a game off of him if I played perfect and he got delay scrolled or something. And then it didn't turn out to be specifically a delay scroll, but yeah, a late Wily 4 death was was
Wily,
enough.
Yeah, Wily 4 was a problem for him in games 1 and 2. He missed the scroll in game 1 and had to use a couple of backup strats. So that cost him about 25 seconds. Then game 2, he took the death, and that extra life he grabbed in Quickman might have saved him, but then he died at Wily Machine. So due to a mistimed shot, the clash bombs.
That's the nightmare scenario, is if you put a shot into his hitbox instead of underneath.
Right. So it worked. So yeah, but then game 3, he was pretty much on point. No real major mistakes from him, and he was able to just really sail through it.
Yeah.
So what were your overall thoughts, impressions about the tournament and your overall play?
I had a lot of fun in this tournament, actually. So I've never been super hot on Rockman 2 as a speedrun, but convincing myself to take it seriously for this tournament was a good opportunity for me to get into what makes it good and what and what's enjoyable about the speedrun and what makes it really compelling for the people who are really good at it. And even though I kind of only got into the sort of mid-tier times, your high 27s, I really number one, my respect for people like cyghfer and Cool Kid and all the rest, like Elo, all those other top tier players, it's tremendously increased. They are incredible players.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to see them take this game as far as it's possible to go.
Yeah.
It's and yes. So at the same time, I'm glad win this match because I'm kind of done with the game and looking forward to doing some Mega Man 3 grind. So
right. Yeah, it's you see this kind of game with all the skips and all the sequence breaks they're doing and realize this is a really high wire rack as far as execution, because you're really having to master a lot of things that the developers hadn't necessarily intended for you to do.
Yeah, for sure. So many of the mistakes in this game lose 30 seconds. It's ridiculous. Right. I can't deal with that kind of stress.
Right. Right, and to see cyghfer doing some of the strats that he was doing, like in Clash, man, he's doing the harder item 1 skip, and he actually missed in game 2, but he was able to pull off a backup strat that actually pulled you to even for a little while. But to be able to execute that even with the backup, near perfectly every single time, it's man.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts before we let you go?
I'm really excited to see not only cyghfer's next matches, but also all the rest of the tournament matches from here on. Everything is gonna be really tight and really cool. So I'm looking forward to watching all that, especially the Game 2 Fasta versus Sinister tomorrow should be really interesting.
Oh yes, the exhibition at the was it Calathon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so keep an eye out for that. I might have to miss it because I got something else, but I'll definitely catch the replay of that. So thanks again to ColonelFatso. Cypher has politely declined interview. He's got some, I guess, microphone problems, but GG's to him. So yeah, so Cypher will move on to the quarterfinals of the tournament. He will be playing Streamline at a date to be determined. Let me just take a look at the schedule here. See what else we got. Got a few matches coming up in the next few days. At 10 p.m. Eastern, we have Dactley versus Beef Watson 85. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have Von Rufio versus Cassio Third. And at 4 p.m. Eastern Sunday, we have Mazimov versus Endy. So some interesting matches up ahead. We got all three of those, incidentally, are first round matches between our competitors, and they will be moving on to play second round matches against some of the top tier players in the tournament. So that'll be interesting to see how they fare and what that means for them. I think that'll just about do it for me. Thanks again for everyone to watch. Give these runners a follow if you haven't already. It's a really good exhibition here and a really good match. A fine display of skills, so give them a follow. I think that will do it for me. I'm Pro007. I'm glad to join you on this very entertaining and very exciting match that actually went the distance, all 3 games. What more could you ask for? So I think that'll do it. Thank you.